I heard it through the wall at 2 in the morning, the kind of sound that makes your blood stop. A crash, then a voice high and desperate begging someone to stop. I froze in my bed, staring at the ceiling, my heart hammering against my ribs. The apartment next door had been occupied for 3 months, but I barely knew my neighbor. A woman, always in a hurry, always with her head down. I'd see her sometimes in the hallway, carrying grocery bags with a little girl trailing behind her. We'd exchange polite nods, nothing more. I preferred it that way. I didn't do neighbors, I didn't do people. But now I couldn't unhear what I was hearing. A man's voice, low and venomous. Hers, cracking with fear. Something shattered, then silence. The kind of silence that feels worse than noise. I sat up, my hands shaking. Should I call someone? Should I knock? What if I was wrong? What if I made it worse? The silence stretched. I almost convinced myself I'd imagined it. Then I heard it. A soft, trembling knock on my door. I stumbled out of bed, my mind racing. I looked through the peephole. She was there. My neighbor. Her face was pale, her eyes red and swollen, and in her arms, wrapped in a blanket, was the little girl. The woman's lips moved, barely a whisper, but I heard it through the door. Can I stay just for tonight? I opened the door. Before we continue, tell me in the comments where you're listening from. I love knowing how far these stories reach. And if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, don't forget to like and subscribe. Now let's see how one desperate night changed everything. She stood in my doorway like a ghost. Her hair was tangled, her sweater torn at the shoulder. The little girl in her arms had her face buried against her mother's neck, small hands clutching tight. I didn't think. I just stepped aside and let them in. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice raw. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know where else to go." I closed the door behind them, my mind still trying to catch up. My apartment was small, cluttered with design projects and coffee mugs I'd forgotten to wash. I wasn't prepared for guests. I wasn't prepared for this. "Sit," I said, gesturing to the couch. She moved slowly, like every step hurt. The girl stayed glued to her, silent and wide-eyed. I noticed a bruise forming on the woman's cheekbone, dark purple against her pale skin. "Do you need a doctor?" I asked. She shook her head quickly. "No, please. I just need to sit for a minute." I didn't push. I went to the kitchen and filled a glass with water, my hands still shaking. When I came back, she was sitting on the edge of the couch, staring at nothing. The girl had relaxed slightly, her head resting on her mother's shoulder. "I'm Clara," I said, offering the water. She took it with trembling hands. "Emma, and this is Lily." Lily peeked at me from behind her mother's arm. She couldn't have been more than 5. Her eyes were huge and dark, filled with something no child should ever have to carry. "Hi, Lily," I said softly. She didn't answer, just burrowed deeper into Emma's side. Emma took a sip of water, then set the glass down carefully like she was afraid it might break. "I heard you sometimes," she said, "through the wall. Your music, late at night. I always thought you seemed safe." The word hit me harder than it should have. Safe. I'd spent years building walls, keeping people out, and somehow this stranger had decided I was safe. "What happened?" I asked. Her jaw tightened. "My husband, ex-husband, he found us." "Found you?" She nodded, her eyes filling with tears. "I left him 6 months ago, took Lily and just ran. I thought we were far enough away. I thought he wouldn't look anymore." Her voice cracked. I was wrong. I sat down in the chair across from her, trying to process. "He was in your apartment tonight. He broke the lock," she said. "He said he just wanted to talk, but he was drunk. And angry. So angry." She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. Lily was asleep. I tried to keep him quiet, but he started yelling, breaking things. I grabbed her and locked us in the bathroom. He pounded on the door for 10 minutes. Then he just left. My stomach turned. "You need to call the police." "No." The word came out sharp. She looked at me with something close to panic. "Please, I can't. He has connections, money, lawyers. Last time I tried to get a restraining order, he made it disappear. Made me look crazy. I can't go through that again." I wanted to argue, wanted to tell her that was exactly why she needed help. But I saw the exhaustion in her face, the defeat. She'd fought this battle before and lost. "Okay," I said quietly. "No police. But you can't go back there tonight. I know. She looked down at Lily, stroking her daughter's hair. I'll figure something out in the morning. A shelter, maybe. Or I'll call my sister in Ohio. I just need tonight. I thought about my spare room. It wasn't really a room, just a corner I'd turned into storage. Boxes of old projects, a broken desk I kept meaning to fix. But there was space, enough for a mattress. You can stay here, I said. Emma's head snapped up. What? Stay here. Tonight. As long as you need. I can't ask you to do that. You're not asking. I'm offering. Her eyes filled with tears again, but this time they spilled over. I don't even know you. I don't know you either, I admitted. But I know you need help, and I have space. She stared at me for a long moment, like she was trying to figure out if I was real. Then she nodded, just barely. Just tonight, I promise I'll be gone by morning. I didn't believe her, and I wasn't sure I wanted her to be gone. I cleared out the spare room while Emma sat with Lily on the couch. It took me 20 minutes to haul boxes into my bedroom and drag in an air mattress I'd bought years ago and never used. I found clean sheets, a pillow, a blanket that smelled faintly of lavender detergent. When I came back to the living room, Lily was asleep on Emma's lap. Emma was staring at the wall, her fingers absently tracing circles on her daughter's back. It's ready, I said quietly. She looked up, startled, like she'd forgotten I was there. Thank you, she whispered. I don't know how to thank you. You don't have to. She stood carefully, lifting Lily in her arms. The girl stirred but didn't wake. I led them to the room and Emma laid Lily down on the mattress, tucking the blanket around her small body. For a moment she just stood there, watching her daughter sleep. She's been through so much, Emma said, her voice breaking. She shouldn't have to live like this, running, hiding. I wanted to give her a normal life. You're keeping her safe, I said. That's what matters. Emma turned to look at me, and I saw the weight she was carrying. Not just fear. Shame. I used to be someone, she said. I was a lawyer, I had a career, a life. Then I met Richard and he made me feel like I was the center of his world. Until I wasn't. Until I was just something he owned. I didn't know what to say. I'd never been good at this, at comforting people. I'd spent so long avoiding emotional connection that I didn't have the words. You're still someone, I said finally. You're her mother. You're the person who got her out. Emma's face crumpled. She covered her mouth with her hand, trying to hold back a sob. I stepped closer, hesitant, and then I put my hand on her shoulder. She leaned into it just slightly, and I felt the tension in her body break. I'm so tired, she whispered. Then sleep, I said. I'll be right outside if you need anything. She nodded, wiping her eyes. Clara? Yeah? Why are you doing this? I thought about it. About my empty apartment, my quiet life, the years I'd spent keeping everyone at arm's length. Because someone should, I said. Emma smiled, small and sad. You're a good person. I wasn't sure about that. But I left her there and went back to my room. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the silence. For the first time in a long time, my apartment didn't feel empty. The next morning, I woke to the smell of coffee. I stumbled out of my room, confused, and found Emma in my kitchen. She'd cleaned the counters, washed the dishes I'd left in the sink, and somehow figured out how to use my ancient coffee maker. You didn't have to do that, I said. She turned, offering a tentative smile. I wanted to. You've done so much already. Lily was sitting at my small dining table, coloring on a piece of paper with crayons I didn't remember owning. She looked up at me, still wary, but not as scared as last night. Good morning, Lily, I said. She didn't respond, just went back to her drawing. Emma poured me a cup of coffee and handed it to me. I meant what I said. I'll be out of your hair today. I called my sister. She's wiring me some money. I can get a bus ticket by this afternoon. I took a sip of coffee. It was good, better than I usually made. Where does your sister live? Ohio, outside Cleveland. That's far. That's the point. I nodded slowly. And you think he won't follow you there? Her face darkened. He might, but at least I'll have help. She has a big house, a husband. They can keep us safe. I wanted to believe her, but I saw the doubt in her eyes. What if you stayed? I said. Emma blinked. What? Here for a while, until you figure things out. Clara, I can't. You've already done too much. I have the space, and you just made me the best coffee I've had in months. She laughed, a short, disbelieving sound. That's not a reason to let a stranger live with you. Maybe not, I admitted. But Lily likes it here. Look. We both turned to look at Lily. She was holding up her drawing, showing it to us. It was a picture of 3 stick figures. One tall, one medium, one small. They were holding hands. Who's that? Emma asked gently. Lily pointed to each figure. You, me, and the nice lady. Emma's eyes filled with tears. She looked at me helpless. Clara, I can't pay you. I don't have anything. I'm not asking you to pay. Then what are you asking? I thought about it. About the quiet years, the loneliness I'd convinced myself was freedom. About the sound I'd heard through the wall, and the choice I'd made to open the door. I'm asking you to stay, I said, just for a while, until you're ready. Emma stared at me. Then she set down her coffee cup and walked over. Before I could react, she hugged me. It was brief, awkward, but real. Okay, she whispered. Just for a while. Lily went back to her drawing. Emma wiped her eyes and poured herself more coffee. And I stood there in my kitchen, wondering what I'd just done. I'd opened my door to a stranger. I'd invited chaos into my carefully controlled life. But when I looked at Lily's drawing, at the 3 stick figures holding hands, I thought maybe chaos wasn't the worst thing in the world. The first week was strange. Emma moved through my apartment like a shadow, trying to take up as little space as possible. She'd wake before me, make breakfast, clean things that didn't need cleaning. She was always apologizing for using too much hot water, for Lily's toys scattered on the floor, for existing. You don't have to do this, I told her on the 3rd morning, watching her scrub my already clean stove. I want to help, she said, not looking at me. You're letting us stay. The least I can do is… Emma. I waited until she turned. You're not my maid. You're my guest. Her face crumpled slightly. I need to feel useful. I need to feel like I'm not just taking from you. I understood that. The shame of needing help. The weight of feeling like a burden. Then cook, I said. I live on takeout and cereal. If you want to help, feed me something that doesn't come in a cardboard box. She smiled, small but genuine. I can do that. And she did. That night, she made pasta from scratch, with a sauce that filled my apartment with the smell of garlic and tomatoes. Lily sat at the table, swinging her legs, watching me with those huge dark eyes. Do you like it? Emma asked nervously. I took a bite. It was the best thing I'd eaten in months. It's perfect, Lily giggled. It was the first sound I'd heard her make beyond whispers. The sound startled both Emma and me. Emma's eyes filled with tears, but she was smiling. She hasn't laughed in weeks, Emma whispered. I looked at Lily. She was grinning at me, a gap where her front tooth used to be. What's funny? I asked. You have sauce on your nose, she said. I touched my face and felt it. Emma laughed too, covering her mouth. I grabbed a napkin and wiped it off, pretending to be indignant. Well, that's embarrassing. Lily laughed again, louder this time. And just like that, the apartment felt different. Warmer. Alive. Over the next few days, Lily started to open up. She'd follow me around while I worked, asking questions about my design projects. What was I making? Why was that color blue? Could she try? I wasn't used to children. I didn't know how to talk to them, but Lily made it easy. She was curious and gentle, and she never demanded too much. One afternoon, she climbed onto the chair next to my desk while I was working on a logo design. Can I draw too? She asked. I hesitated. I had expensive equipment, digital tablets, things a 5-year-old could break. But she looked at me with such hope that I couldn't say no. I pulled out a piece of paper and gave her some colored pencils. What are you drawing? I asked after a few minutes. She held it up proudly. It was a house, a big one, with windows and a door and a garden full of flowers. 3 stick figures stood in front of it. Is that you and your mom? I asked. She nodded. Then she pointed to the 3rd figure. And you. My chest tightened. Me? Yeah. You live with us now. I didn't know what to say. I looked over at Emma, who was folding laundry on the couch. She'd heard. Her hands had stopped moving, and she was staring at the pile of clothes with an expression I couldn't read. That's a beautiful house, I said finally. Lily beamed. It's our house. All of us. That night, after Lily went to bed, Emma and I sat on the couch with glasses of wine. It was the first time we'd really talked, just the 2 of us. The first time the silence didn't feel awkward. She's getting attached to you, Emma said quietly. Is that bad? Emma took a sip of wine. I don't know. Maybe. We can't stay here forever, Clara. You have a life, a routine. We're disrupting everything. I don't mind, I said, and I meant it. Emma looked at me, searching my face. Why are you doing this? Really? You don't owe us anything. I thought about it. About the years I'd spent alone, convinced it was easier that way. About my mother who'd died when I was 16, leaving me with nothing but emptiness. About the walls I'd built to keep from feeling that kind of loss again. I lost my mom young, I said. After that, I just closed off. I told myself I didn't need people, that it was safer to be alone. I paused. But watching you with Lily, I realized I was just scared. Emma's eyes softened. Scared of what? Of caring, of losing someone again. She reached over and took my hand. Her fingers were warm, steady. You're not going to lose us. I wanted to believe her. But I'd learned that promises like that were fragile. The bond between us grew in small moments. Emma teaching me how to braid Lily's hair. Me showing Emma how to use design software so she could update her resume. Lily calling me Auntie Clara for the first time, and the way my heart jumped at the sound. We fell into a rhythm. Mornings were chaotic, with Lily demanding breakfast and Emma rushing to get her dressed. I'd work during the day while Emma looked for jobs online. Evenings were for dinner together, for Lily's stories about imaginary friends, for the three of us curled up on the couch watching old movies. It felt like a family, and that terrified me. One night, about 3 weeks in, Lily had a nightmare. I woke to the sound of her crying, muffled but desperate. I stumbled out of bed and found Emma's door open. She was sitting on the edge of the air mattress holding Lily, whispering soothing words. "Mama, he's coming back," Lily sobbed. "He's going to find us." "No, baby. We're safe, I promise." But Lily wouldn't calm down. She was shaking, hyperventilating. Emma looked up at me, helpless. I knelt down beside them. "Hey, Lily, look at me." She turned her tear-streaked face toward me. "You know what I do when I'm scared?" I asked. She shook her head. "I count all the good things around me. Want to try?" She nodded, sniffling. "Okay, I'll start. One good thing is your mom, who loves you more than anything. Can you think of another?" Lily thought for a moment. "My crayons. That's a great one. What else?" "The park and pancakes. Pancakes are definitely good. What about people, anyone else?" She looked at me with those big eyes. "You." My throat tightened. "Me? You're a good thing, Auntie Clara." I felt Emma's hand on my shoulder squeezing gently. I looked at Lily and smiled, even though I felt like I might cry. "You're a good thing too, kiddo." She smiled back, small but real. Her breathing started to even out. Within minutes, she was asleep again, her head on Emma's lap. Emma and I stayed there for a while, not speaking. Finally, she whispered, "Thank you." "For what?" "For being here. For helping me with her. I couldn't do this alone." "You're not alone," I said. She looked at me and something shifted in her expression, something deeper than gratitude. "Clara, I need to tell you something." "What?" She hesitated. I'm starting to feel things I shouldn't." My heart started to race. "What do you mean?" "I mean you. I'm starting to feel things for you." Her voice was barely audible. "And I know that's wrong. You've done so much for us, and the last thing you need is me complicating things." I didn't know what to say. I'd felt it too, the pull between us, the way my chest would tighten when she smiled, the way I'd started looking forward to evenings together. But I'd buried it, convinced it was just loneliness. "It's not wrong," I said quietly. Emma's eyes widened. "Clara, I feel it too." We stared at each other in the dim light of the spare room, Lily asleep between us. It felt impossible, this moment, fragile and terrifying and perfect all at once. "I can't ask you to," Emma started. "You're not asking. I'm choosing." She smiled, tears in her eyes. "This is crazy. I know. We barely know each other. I know. And I come with complications." I looked down at Lily, peaceful now. "The best things usually do." Emma laughed softly. She reached out and touched my face, her fingers gentle against my cheek. "What are we doing?" "I don't know," I admitted. "But I don't want to stop." We stayed like that for a moment longer, the world narrowed down to just the three of us. Then Emma pulled back, careful not to wake Lily. "We should talk about this tomorrow," she whispered, "when we're thinking clearly." I nodded, even though I wasn't sure I wanted to think clearly. Thinking clearly meant remembering all the reasons this was a bad idea. And right now, I didn't want reasons. I went back to my room but couldn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. What was I doing? Emma was vulnerable, running from an abusive ex, living in my apartment because she had nowhere else to go. Was I taking advantage? Was I confusing gratitude for something else? But then I thought about the way she looked at me, the way she'd touched my face, the way Lily had called me a good thing. Maybe it wasn't logical. Maybe it was messy and complicated and destined to fall apart. But for the first time in years, I felt like I was part of something real. The next morning, Emma and I didn't talk about it. We moved around each other carefully, both of us pretending the night before hadn't happened. But there was a new awareness between us, a current I couldn't ignore. It was Lily who broke the tension. She came running into the living room with a book, her face bright with excitement. "Auntie Clara, will you read to me?" I looked at Emma. She smiled and nodded. "Go ahead, I'll start lunch." I sat on the couch and Lily climbed into my lap, her small body fitting perfectly against mine. She opened the book, a story about a princess and a dragon. I started reading and she listened with rapt attention, her fingers playing with the edge of my shirt. Halfway through, she interrupted. "Auntie Clara, yeah? Are you going to stay with us forever?" My breath caught. I looked over at Emma, who'd stopped chopping vegetables and was watching us. "I don't know, Lily," I said honestly, "but I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere anytime soon." She thought about that. Then she smiled and snuggled closer. "Okay, that's good." Emma's eyes were shining with tears. She mouthed 2 words at me. "Thank you." I mouthed back, "Always." That afternoon, everything changed. There was a knock at the door. Sharp, insistent. Emma froze, her face going pale. Lily looked up from her coloring, fear creeping into her eyes. "It's him," Emma whispered. "It's Richard." My heart slammed against my ribs. "How do you know?" "I just know." The knock came again, harder this time. Then a voice, smooth and cold. "Emma, I know you're in there. Open the door. We need to talk." Emma grabbed Lily and pulled her close. "Don't open it," she begged. "Please, Clara." "Don't let him in." I walked to the door, my hands shaking. I looked through the peephole. A man stood there, tall and well-dressed, with the kind of face that belonged in boardrooms. Handsome in a cold, calculated way. He was smiling, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Emma," he called out. "I'm not here to cause trouble. I just want to see my daughter." "She's not your daughter," Emma said, loud enough for him to hear. "You lost that right." His smile vanished. "Open the door, Emma, or I'll call the police and tell them you kidnapped her." "You wouldn't," Emma said, but her voice wavered. "Try me." I made a decision. I opened the door, but I kept the chain lock on. Richard's eyes flicked to me, assessing. "Who are you?" he asked. "I'm Clara. This is my apartment." His smile returned, oily and false. "Nice to meet you, Clara. I'm Richard, Emma's husband." "Ex-husband," I corrected. His jaw tightened. "Semantics. I'm here for my family. This doesn't concern you." "It does when they're in my home." He leaned closer, his voice dropping. "Listen, Clara. I don't know what Emma told you, but she's not well. She's paranoid. Delusional. She needs help, and I'm trying to give it to her." I looked back at Emma, who was holding Lily so tight it looked like it hurt. Then I looked at Richard, at the cold calculation in his eyes. "Get out," I said. His smile disappeared completely. "Excuse me?" "You heard me. Get out. And don't come back." He stared at me, and I saw something dark flicker across his face. "You're making a mistake." "No, you are." He stepped back, adjusting his suit jacket. "Fine. But this isn't over, Clara. I have lawyers, resources. You're just delaying the inevitable." He looked past me at Emma. "I'll see you soon, darling." Then he turned and walked away. I closed the door and locked it, my whole body shaking. Emma was crying, clutching Lily. I went to them and knelt down. "It's okay," I said. "He's gone. For now," Emma sobbed. "But he'll be back. He always comes back." I took her face in my hands. "Then we'll deal with it together." She looked at me and I saw something break in her. The fear, the exhaustion, all of it crashing down. "I can't keep running. I can't keep putting you and Lily through this." "You're not running anymore," I said. "We're standing our ground." "How? He has everything, money, power. What do we have?" I looked at Lily, who was watching us with frightened eyes. Then I looked at Emma. "We have each other," I said. "And that's enough." Emma pulled me into a hug, and I held her tight. Lily wrapped her small arms around both of us, and in that moment, Standing in my apartment with these two people who'd become my world, I knew I'd fight for them, no matter what it cost. Richard had made his first move, but he'd also made a mistake. He'd underestimated me. Richard didn't come back the next day or the day after. The silence was worse than the confrontation. Emma barely slept. She'd check the locks on the door 5 times before bed, peer through the peephole at every sound in the hallway. Lily stopped laughing. She'd sit quietly with her crayons, drawing the same picture over and over. A house, 3 stick figures. But now there was always a 4th figure, dark and looming, standing outside. "He's planning something," Emma said one morning, staring at her coffee. "He doesn't just give up. Then we need to be ready," I said. "How? We can't fight him, Clara. You don't know what he's capable of." I wanted to argue, but I didn't have an answer. I was a freelance designer, not a lawyer or a fighter. What could I possibly do against someone with Richard's resources? The answer came 2 days later. I was working on a project for one of my biggest clients, a tech startup that had been with me for over a year. My phone rang. It was Marcus, the CEO. "Clara, we need to talk," he said. His voice was stiff, uncomfortable. "Sure, what's up?" "We're going to have to pause the contract." I sat up straighter. "Pause? Why? Did I do something wrong?" No, your work is great. It's just, we've had some concerns raised. Legal concerns." My stomach dropped. "What kind of concerns?" He hesitated. "Look, I can't get into details, but someone reached out to our legal team, said there might be issues with your personal situation, that it could reflect poorly on our brand." "My personal situation?" I repeated, my voice rising. "Marcus, what are you talking about?" "I'm sorry, Clara, I really am. But we have to protect ourselves. Once this blows over, we can revisit, but for now we need to step back." He hung up before I could respond. I sat there staring at my phone, my hands shaking. Someone. He didn't have to say the name. I knew. Over the next week, 3 more clients canceled, all with similar excuses. Legal concerns, brand protection, vague threats wrapped in corporate language. My income dried up overnight. Emma noticed. Of course she did. She saw me working longer hours, saw the stress in my face. "What's wrong?" she asked one evening after Lily had gone to bed. "Nothing," I lied. "Clara." I looked at her, at the worry in her eyes, the guilt already forming. I couldn't tell her. I couldn't put that weight on her shoulders. "Just work stuff," I said. "It happens." But Emma wasn't stupid. The next day, while I was in the shower, she went through my laptop. I came out to find her sitting at my desk, tears streaming down her face, staring at the cancellation emails. "This is because of me," she said. "Emma, he did this. Richard, he's destroying your life because of me." I grabbed her shoulders. "He's not destroying anything, it's just work. I'll find new clients." "You don't understand," she sobbed. "This is what he does. He ruins people who get in his way. He has connections everywhere, lawyers, business owners, politicians. He'll make sure no one wants to work with you. He'll make sure you lose everything." "I don't care." "You should." She pulled away from me, her face twisted with anguish. "You should care, Clara. This is your life, your career. I can't let him take that from you. He's not taking anything. I'm choosing this. I'm choosing you and Lily." Emma shook her head. "No, you don't get to choose this. You don't get to sacrifice yourself for us. That's not your decision to make." "Yes, it is," her voice cracked, "because I'm the one who brought this into your life. I'm the one who knocked on your door. I'm the poison here, Clara, and I can't keep poisoning you." I felt something cold settle in my chest. "What are you saying?" She wiped her eyes, and I saw the resolve forming. The same look she'd had the night she showed up at my door. Determined, broken. "I'm saying we need to leave." "No, we don't have a choice. There's always a choice." Emma looked at me with so much pain it hurt to see. "Not when the choice is between your life and mine." That night I barely slept. I could hear Emma moving around in the spare room, packing. The sound of zippers, the rustle of clothes. Each sound felt like a nail in my chest. In the morning I found the letter on the kitchen counter. My hands shook as I picked it up. Emma's handwriting, neat and careful. "Clara, I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen. You opened your door to us when we had nowhere else to go. You gave us safety, warmth, a home. You gave us hope, and I repaid you by bringing Richard into your life. He won't stop. He'll keep coming after you, destroying everything you've built, until there's nothing left. I can't watch that happen. I can't let Lily watch that happen. I called Richard last night. I told him I'd come back if he left you alone. He agreed. I know what that means. I know what I'm walking into, but it's the only way to protect you. Lily drew you one last picture. She wanted you to have it. She loves you, so do I. More than you'll ever know. You deserve a normal life, Clara. A life without my chaos, without my mistakes. You deserve someone who can give you peace, not danger. Thank you for everything. Thank you for being the person who opened the door. Emma, I dropped the letter. My legs gave out and I sank to the floor. The world tilted, blurred. I couldn't breathe. On the counter, next to the letter, was Lily's drawing. 3 stick figures holding hands. But this time one of them had tears. And written in careful childish letters, I love you, Auntie Clara. I don't know how long I sat there, minutes, hours. The apartment felt cavernous, empty in a way it had never been before. The silence pressed down on me like a weight. Finally, I stood. I grabbed my phone and called Emma. It went straight to voicemail. Emma, please, I said, my voice breaking. Please don't do this. Come back. We'll figure it out together. I don't care about the work. I don't care about Richard. I just care about you and Lily. Please. I called again and again. Each time, voicemail. I tried to find her. I went to her old apartment, but it was empty. The lock still broken from when Richard had forced his way in. I called hospitals, shelters, anywhere she might have gone. Nothing. She was gone. Days passed in a fog. I couldn't work, couldn't eat. I'd wake up expecting to hear Lily's laugh, to smell Emma's coffee, but there was only silence. A week after she left, I got an email from an unknown address. No subject line, just a link to a Society page article. My hands shook as I clicked it. The headline read, Power Couple Reconciles. Richard Hartwell and wife reunite. There was a photo. Richard in a tailored suit, his arm around Emma. She was wearing a dress I'd never seen, expensive and elegant. Her hair was styled perfectly, her makeup flawless, but her eyes were dead. Next to them, holding Richard's hand, was Lily. She wasn't smiling. The article gushed about their reconciliation, about how Richard had fought to win back his family, and how Emma had realized where she truly belonged. It quoted Richard saying, "Sometimes people lose their way, but love always brings them home." I closed my laptop and screamed. I wanted to break something, to drive to wherever they were and drag Emma out of there. But I couldn't, because she'd made her choice. She'd chosen to go back to protect me, and I hated myself for it. I hated that she thought I needed protecting. I hated that she thought my career mattered more than her life. I hated that I'd let her believe she was poison. But most of all, I hated that I'd let her leave without fighting harder. 2 weeks after Emma left, my doorbell rang at midnight. I'd been lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment, every conversation, wondering what I could have done differently. I stumbled to the door, exhausted and numb. I looked through the peephole. It was Lily. I yanked the door open. She was standing there in her pajamas, barefoot, shivering. Her face was streaked with tears. "Lily?" I dropped to my knees. "What are you doing here? Where's your mom?" She threw her arms around my neck. "You have to help her," she sobbed. "Please, Auntie Clara. You have to save Mama." I pulled her inside and wrapped a blanket around her. "Lily, slow down. Tell me what happened." "He's mean to her," Lily cried. "He yells all the time. And Mama cries when she thinks I'm asleep. She told him she wanted to leave, and he said he'd never let us go. He said terrible things." My chest tightened with rage. "How did you get here?" I ran away. Mama was sleeping. I took money from her purse and got a taxi. I remembered the address. This 5-year-old child had escaped, alone, in the middle of the night, to come find me. The bravery of it, the desperation, made me want to cry. "Does your mom know you're here?" She shook her head. "But she needs you. She told me once that you were the bravest person she ever met. You have to be brave now. You have to get her back." I looked at this little girl, who'd been through more than any child should ever endure, who'd lost her safety, her home, her mother's smile, who still believed I could fix it. "Okay," I said. "I'll get her back." Lily's face lit up. "Promise?" I took her small hands in mine. "I promise." I didn't know how. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew one thing with absolute certainty. Richard had taken everything from me. My work, my peace, and the woman I loved. It was time to take something back. I called Emma 30 seconds after Lily fell asleep on my couch. The phone rang twice before she answered. Clara. Her voice was panicked. Is Lily with you? Please tell me she's with you. She's safe. She's here. Emma's sob of relief was so loud I had to pull the phone away from my ear. Oh, thank God. Thank God. I woke up and she was gone and I thought, Emma, listen to me. She told me everything. Silence. You can't go back there, I said. Clara, please don't do this. Just let me come get her. I'll bring her home and… Home? You call that home? He's hurting you, Emma. Lily sees it. She ran away in the middle of the night to find me because she's terrified. I'm handling it. By letting him destroy you. By keeping you safe. Her voice broke. He promised he'd leave you alone if I came back. He promised, Clara. And you believed him? I had to. I couldn't let him ruin your life. I closed my eyes, trying to control the fury building in my chest. You think my life means anything without you in it? Emma went quiet. I could hear her breathing, shaky and uneven. I'm coming to get you, I said. No, Clara, no. He'll hurt you. He has security, cameras, lawyers on speed dial. If you show up here, he'll have you arrested for trespassing. Or worse. Then I won't show up there. What are you talking about? I looked at Lily's drawing on my coffee table, the 3 stick figures holding hands. I'm going to make him let you go. How? I didn't have an answer yet, but I was going to find one. I spent the next day doing research, real research. I started with Richard's business, Hartwell Capital Management, a private equity firm with a polished website and glowing testimonials. On the surface, it looked legitimate, but I knew how to dig deeper. I found articles, small ones buried in financial blogs and local news sites, complaints from investors who'd lost money, allegations of mismanagement of funds being moved into offshore accounts. Nothing concrete enough to stick, but enough to form a pattern. Then I found something better, a Reddit thread from 2 years ago, an employee who claimed Richard had forced them to falsify financial reports. The thread had been deleted, but I used an archive site to recover it. The employee had posted documents, screenshots, emails. Everything was still there. I spent hours going through it all, cross-referencing names and dates. By the time the sun came up, I had a folder full of evidence. Not enough to convict him in court, maybe, but enough to destroy him publicly. Lily woke up around 7. She padded into my workspace, rubbing her eyes. Did you figure out how to save Mama? I turned to her. I think so. She climbed into my lap, her small body warm against mine. What are you going to do? I'm going to tell the truth, I said. About who Richard really is. Will it work? I hugged her tight. I hope so, kiddo. I really hope so. That afternoon, I made a call to Marcus, my former client. He sounded surprised to hear from me. Clara, look, about the contract. I'm not calling about that, I said. I'm calling to ask a favor. You know that tech conference you're speaking at next week? Yeah, why? Richard Hartwell is the keynote speaker, right? Silence. Then, how did you know that? Because I did my homework, and I need you to get me into that conference. Clara, I can't… Marcus, the man who threatened your company, who made you cancel our contract, is a fraud. I have proof, and I'm going to expose him, but I need your help. He hesitated. I could hear the uncertainty in his breathing. What kind of proof? The kind that would make you very glad you're not associated with him anymore. Another pause. Send it to me. Let me look at it first. I sent him everything. An hour later, he called back. Holy shit, he said. This is real? Every word. If this gets out, he's finished. That's the idea. Marcus laughed, a sound of disbelief. You've got guts, Clara. Okay, I'll get you in. But what are you planning to do? I'm going to give a presentation he'll never forget. The tech conference was in 3 days. I worked around the clock, building a presentation that would destroy Richard Hartwell's carefully constructed image. I used every design skill I had to make it clear, compelling, impossible to ignore. Financial records showing embezzlement. Testimonies from former employees about harassment and intimidation. Evidence of offshore accounts and fraudulent reporting. And at the center of it all, Emma's story. The abuse. The control. The way he'd weaponized his power to trap her. I didn't use her name. I called her a victim to protect her privacy, but anyone who knew Richard would recognize the pattern. On the day of the conference, I dressed in the most professional outfit I owned. Lily stayed with a neighbor, someone Emma had trusted back when we'd had a normal life. I promised her I'd bring her mother home. The conference was held in a massive hotel ballroom, hundreds of people in suits, networking and drinking overpriced coffee. I checked in with the badge Marcus had arranged for me, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might burst. Richard's keynote was scheduled for 2 p.m. I found Marcus in the crowd, and he pulled me aside. "You're sure about this?" he asked. "Completely. Security's tight. If they catch you, they won't." He handed me a USB drive. I talked to the AV team, told them you're my assistant, and you need to upload a file for my presentation later. This will give you access to the main system. You'll have about 5 minutes during Richard's speech when the system's live but unmonitored. I took the drive, my hands shaking. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. Just make it count." At 1:55, Richard took the stage. He looked exactly as I remembered. Polished, confident, every inch the successful businessman. He smiled at the crowd, and they smiled back. They had no idea who he really was. He started his speech. Something about innovation and leadership and seizing opportunities. The crowd ate it up. I watched from the back of the room, waiting. At 2:10 during a video interlude, I made my move. I walked to the AV booth, showed them Marcus's badge, and plugged in the USB drive. The technician barely looked at me. "Just uploading a file for later," I said casually. "Sure, go ahead." I accessed the presentation system and replaced Richard's remaining slides with mine. My heart was hammering so hard I could barely see straight, but my hands were steady. "All set," I said and walked away. Richard finished his video and moved to his next slide, except it wasn't his slide. It was mine. The title appeared on the massive screen behind him. "The Real Richard Hartwell, a Case Study in Corruption." The room went silent. Richard froze, staring at the screen. He fumbled for his remote, trying to change the slide, but I'd locked him out. The next slide appeared. Financial records, dates, dollar amounts, offshore account numbers. "What the hell?" Richard's voice echoed through the microphone. The slide changed again. Testimonies from former employees. Their faces blurred for anonymity, but their words crystal clear. "He threatened my family. He told me to lie or lose everything. He made me feel like I had no choice." Richard spun toward the AV booth. "Turn this off. Turn it off now." But the slides kept coming, each one more damning than the last. The crowd was murmuring now, some people pulling out their phones, recording. Then came the final section, Emma's story. No photos, no names, just the facts. A woman trapped by a man with power. A child forced to watch her mother suffer. A pattern of abuse hidden behind wealth and influence. The last slide was simple, just one sentence. "How many more victims will it take before we stop looking away?" Richard was shouting now, demanding security, threatening lawsuits. But the damage was done. People were already leaving, disgust on their faces. Others were on their phones, calling lawyers, calling reporters. I walked out of the ballroom before security could find me. My whole body was shaking, adrenaline coursing through my veins. I'd done it. I called Emma as soon as I got outside. She answered on the first ring. "Clara, what did you do?" Richard just called, screaming about, "Pack a bag," I said. "Right now. Take whatever you need and get out of there." "What? Clara, what's happening?" "I just destroyed him, publicly, in front of hundreds of people. His career is over, and by tomorrow the news will be everywhere. You need to leave before he—" "Oh my God." I heard movement on her end, frantic and rushed. "Oh my God, Clara. He's going to kill me. He's going to actually kill me." "He's not. Because you're not going to be there. I'm sending you an address. It's a hotel near the airport. Check in under my name. I'll meet you there in an hour. Clara, Emma, trust me. Please, just trust me." She was crying, but I heard the resolve in her voice. Okay, I'm going." I sent her the address and then called Marcus. "It's done." "I know, I'm watching the fallout in real time." "Holy shit, Clara, you actually did it." "Is he still there?" Security escorted him out. "He's threatening everyone in sight, but his board just called an emergency meeting. He's finished." I felt a wave of relief so strong it almost knocked me over. "Thank you, Marcus, for everything. Thank me by sending me your portfolio. Once this blows over, I want to hire you back. For real this time." I met Emma at the hotel an hour later. She was standing in the lobby with a single suitcase, looking lost and terrified. When she saw me, she ran. We collided in the middle of the lobby, holding each other so tight it hurt. She was sobbing into my shoulder, her whole body shaking. "I can't believe you did that," she whispered. "I can't believe you." "I wasn't going to lose you," I said. "Not to him, not to anyone." She pulled back, her face streaked with tears. "He's going to come after you. He's going to—" "He can't. He's too busy trying to salvage what's left of his reputation. And by the time he's done with that, he'll be facing lawsuits, investigations, maybe even criminal charges. He doesn't have time for us anymore." Emma searched my face. "What if you're wrong? Then we'll deal with it, together." She laughed through her tears. "You're crazy. You know that?" "I know." She kissed me, right there in the hotel lobby in front of strangers and security cameras. It was messy and desperate and perfect. "I love you," she said. "I should have told you before. I love you, Clara. I love you too." We went back to my apartment together. Lily was waiting, practically bouncing with anticipation. When she saw Emma, she screamed and ran into her arms. "Mama! Auntie Clara saved you!" Emma held her daughter tight, crying and laughing at the same time. "She did, baby. She really did." Lily looked at me over Emma's shoulder. "I knew you would." That night, the three of us curled up on the couch. Lily fell asleep between us, her small hand clutching mine. Emma rested her head on my shoulder. "What happens now?" she asked quietly. "Now we live," I said. "We build a life, a real one. What if he finds a way to come back? Then we'll fight him again, but I don't think he will. He's too busy trying to survive." Emma was quiet for a moment. "I want to go back to law," she said. "I want to help people like me, people who think they have no way out." "You will," I said. "You're the strongest person I know." She smiled. "Second strongest." 6 months later, everything had changed. Richard was facing multiple lawsuits. His company had collapsed. Investors were suing. Former employees were coming forward, and the media was having a field day. He'd become a cautionary tale, a symbol of unchecked power and abuse. Emma got her law license reinstated. She started working with a nonprofit that helped domestic violence survivors. She was happy, really happy. I could see it in the way she smiled, in the way she moved through the world without constantly looking over her shoulder. Lily started kindergarten. She made friends, told terrible jokes, drew pictures of our family. She still called me Auntie Clara, even though Emma and I were together now. Even though in every way that mattered, I was her second parent. One evening, Emma came home from work and found me in the kitchen making dinner. She wrapped her arms around me from behind and kissed my neck. "I have something to ask you," she said. "What?" She pulled back and held out a small box. My heart stopped. "I know we've only been together a few months," she said, "and I know this is crazy, but I also know that you saved my life. You saved Lily's life. You gave us a home when we had nothing, and I don't want to spend another day without making this official." She opened the box. Inside was a simple silver ring. "Will you marry me?" she asked. I couldn't speak. I just nodded, tears streaming down my face. She slipped the ring on my finger and we kissed, laughing and crying at the same time. Lily came running in from the living room. "Does this mean we're a forever family now?" Emma and I looked at each other, then at Lily. "Yeah, kiddo," I said. "Forever family." Lily threw her arms around both of us, and standing there in my small kitchen, with the two people I loved more than anything, I realized something. I'd spent so many years alone, convinced it was safer that way, convinced that keeping people out would protect me from pain. But Emma and Lily had shown me the truth. Love wasn't about protection. It was about risk, about opening the door even when you didn't know what was on the other side. And sometimes, if you were brave enough to take that risk, you found everything you never knew you needed. I looked at Emma, at the life we were building together, and smiled. "Can I stay just for tonight?" she'd asked all those months ago, and I'd said yes. It was the best decision I'd ever made.